Here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brighton Area Schools Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Ackermite, roll call, please.
Mr. Birchfield. Here. Mr. Conley.
Here.
Mrs. Marks.
Here.
Dr. Krebs.
Here.
Ms. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Ryder.
Here. All right, that moves us to the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Reed,
Support.
support by Ms. Marks. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes 6-0. Moves us to the superintendent report. Dr. Outlaw.
All right. I'd like to begin by recognizing our Board of Education. Tonight, you see some of the gifts that were prepared by by each one of our schools. It's different student groups. It's parent volunteers. It's our principals. They put together this token of appreciation for our board. This is a thankless job. They do this as volunteers, but they spend all kinds of time on the phone and making tough decisions and communicating with the public, representing the voice of the community. And I'd just like to recognize the board and express our appreciation for your service. So can we get a round of applause for our Board of Education? And next up, I would like to call Mr. Thompson forward, and he is going to introduce our shining stars for this evening, which is a whole host of outstanding young student athletes. So, Mr. Thompson.
Well, thank you, Dr. Outlaw and members of the board. We've had some snow on the ground, so it must be time to turn the page from our fall athletic season to winter, but we certainly want to recognize the efforts of our fall student athletes and coaching staff members. We're going to start with our girls swim and dive team. If Coach Gray could come up with her ladies, that'd be outstanding. Danielle Gray is our head coach for girls swim and dive. And she probably will not mention this as she speaks to you about this season. But just heard earlier today that Coach Gray was Regional Coach of the Year. So congratulations to her. And the floor is yours.
Hi there. Thank you, everybody. And they wanted me to make mention. Thank you for that ice day the other day. It didn't hurt. A few things about this great group of girls. As you saw last year, we had a lot of firepower up here, and we lost most of them due to graduation. But we had a lot of girls step up and make this year even greater. We finished with a 7-1 dual season, which is really impressive if you knew what we were up against, some of the top teams in the state, and all but one, it went our way. Finished 4th at KLAAs, and all but 2 of our athletes that we took there came back for finals. We had 8 state qualifiers this year, 6 of them returning for day 2 swims. Let's talk a little about them. I've got Katie Gray down there, one of our freshmen. She's a scholar athlete. She was all conference in the 200 medley relay and the 200 free relay, top 8 in the 100 breast, state qualifier in the 200 medley relay and 100 breast, top 16 in 200 free relay, and she made the Brighton all-time top 10 list in the 100 breast. We got Maisie Potts. She's our sophomore scholar athlete, first-time state qualifier in the 200 freestyle. Got Lily Story. She's our junior right over here, scholar athlete, all-conference 200 medley relay, state qualifier in the 200 medley relay, doing our fly. And then I've got Ava Sven-Tickis, junior, another scholar athlete, She's all conference in the 200 free relay, top 8 in the 200 and the 100 back at KLAAs. State qualifier in the 200, 100 and top 16 in the 200 and 400 free relays at state. Then I've got senior Grace Gray right over here. She was all conference in the 200 and 400 free relay, conference champion in the 200 and the 100 free, all state in the 200 free, finishing 3rd, and all state in the 100 fly, finishing 5th. And she made the all-time top 10 in the 200 free, 200 IM, 100 fly, 100 free, and 100 back. And then I've got senior Millie Hayash. She's another scholar athlete. She was all conference in the 200 medley relay and 400 free relay, state qualifier in the 200 medley, 200 and 500 freestyles, top 16 in the 400 free relay. That's our girls.
We're going to stick on the girls' end of things. I'm going to ask Coach Christy Matuszewski, our head coach for girls cross country, to please come up and bring her ladies with her and tell you a little bit about another outstanding fall campaign from our girls cross country program that continues to amaze. And she might even tell you about the streak a little bit. But Coach, come on up and.
You can come this way too, so people can see you. Go that way. There you go. All right. Myself and my assistant coach, Olivia, would like to certainly thank Mr. Thompson for his support, as well as the board and the community. We can't do what we do without the support of the people around us. It really makes us better, makes us stronger. Definitely want to thank the other coaches here. We are in good company with some tremendous sports here at Brighton. Our girls, there's 13 of them up here, but we also have another 36 on our team, all very dedicated and make our program better because they are training all summer, getting up. And I mean, this year they were out running by 7:45 in the morning. And I don't know about y'all in high school, but that's not easy to do every single day. And that's what makes us better and great, doing it together and being dedicated. As a team, like the swim team, we also had a rebuilding year. We graduated a lot of girls, but the younger girls stepped up, and we really made quite an impact again this year. We won all our jewels. We won 4 of our invites. We were conference champs, 3rd straight year in a row. We were regional champs, 4th straight year in a row, and we were 5th in the state. And that was the 3rd time we've been in the top 10. I mean, that's pretty incredible knowing that only 3 of these girls ran at the state meet last year. It is the 44th time that our program has qualified for the state meet. Also another thing not to be assumed or taken for granted. As individuals, our state runners were Lydia Lamara, Elle Bassett, Ella Lorenz, Juliette Lewis, Courtney Lentz, Maisie Kavanaugh, and Kayla Marsman. And our alternates were Selena White, Jenna Berkemer, Maddie McCall, Annie Hamilton, Mo Magnan, and Anna Green. All of these girls were recognized as all-county. All of these girls were scholar athletes, academic KLAA all academic. I always screw that one up. And all the girls that ran in the state meet were academic all state. So not only are they fast, but they're also smart and doing their job in school. The girls that were all county were Lydia, Ella, Juliet, Courtney, Maisie, and Selena. And the girls that were all region were Lydia, Ella, Juliet, Courtney, and Maisie. And Lydia was also our regional champion, and she was all state. Those were both second year in a row, and she was runner of the year. Yeah, so this team is pretty incredible. I'm excited to see what we can do in the future. Thanks.
We're going to stick on the running end of things. I'm going to ask Coach Chris Elsey to bring up his boys cross country program, another program that year in and year out, regardless of graduation and incoming freshmen, seems to find their way to great things. So, Coach Elsey, I'll let you share the details of this fall.
Okay, first off, I want to start by thanking Mr. Thompson and the board for creating such a strong, positive culture around athletics, and echo what Coach Christie said about it. We get a lot of support from a lot of different areas, from parents, community. We couldn't do what we do without the support that everyone provides to us. But talk about these great athletes. This season, we finished 7-1 in dual meets, second at the KLA championships. We're regional champions and third overall at the state championships. This senior class, their 4 years, they've never finished lower than third. So they've been a part of, they've continued and built upon the culture that they walked into, and they've done an excellent job for us as not only competing, but being great teammates and passing that culture on, passing that work ethic, passing on that day-to-day, how we go about our business, how we do things to our younger athletes. So hopefully we'll continue this string of success. But we've had in our state team, only 7 run at the state meet, but in all our championship races. Out of those 7, 5 were all conference, 5 were all region, and then Tyler Brock was all state, finishing 20th overall. Can't say enough about the amount of work that goes into, the amount of consistency that goes into running and competing at a high level, as I'm sure the girls program knows, the golf team, the swim team, that they all understand that. But I'm tremendously proud of all the work they put into and all that they've accomplished this season and these previous seasons, and looking ahead into the future. So great job, guys.
Do you have that memorized? Or was that on the spot?
I knew what I wanted to talk about.
Good job, Coach. Just a quick housekeeping thing. At the end, as we get ready to honor our last group here, we're going to invite all of our fall student athletes, Shining Stars, to come up for a group pick. Something new that we've started, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. But it's kind of a cool thing. So we'll bring you all back up after we're done here. I provided the board some notes on our other fall programs as well. One of the things that I take a lot of pride in, because I think our coaches do a great job emphasizing the importance of this, and our kids. And when we talk about hard work as one of our first and foremost core value, that hard work is both in the classroom and in whatever their sport of choosing is. But out of our 519 student athletes, 74% of them had a 3.0 GPA or better. So when you look at the population of Brighton High School and the number of students that participate in a sport, to be able to have that type of performance in the classroom, I think is really something that hopefully our students don't take for granted, and hopefully they'll appreciate when they're a lot older like I am. But I personally could not be prouder of our fall student athletes for what they do in the classroom. Our last group that we're going to bring up is a group that we see here often as well this time of year. That's our girls golf program, coached by Mr. Paul Parcell.
Also, I'd like to thank John Thompson and the board for this time and the community. And it seems like that's a theme this year for rebuilding. We like to think reloading, but rebuilding works too. But we lost our top 4 scorers from last year. Had a great season last year, ended up second in the state for the second year in a row. But after that season and losing the top 4, we were a little nervous about this year. But these girls worked their butts off throughout the summertime. And ended up having another great year. So ended up second in the division, second in the conference. We were 6-1 in matches there, dual matches. Ended up third at the regional and was able to get into the states and end up 11th in the state. Along with that, we had some postseason awards with a few of our girls. All of them actually were on the all-conference team, all 5 girls here. And then as far as the county, we had Miss Sydney Rao here with County Player of the Year, along with Elle and Kayla for second team, all county. And then the following kids were also the second, those 2 were first team, all county, and the last 2 were second team, all county. So looking for another good season next year to follow it up. That's it.
I'd certainly echo the comments that some of our coaches made in reference to Brighton Athletics as a whole. Brighton Athletics is not just about Brighton athletes. Brighton Athletics has a place for everyone in terms of, our success, and it's all due to the support, whether it's from our faculty to our custodial staff, our board of education, bus drivers, you name it. And certainly we have coaches that work tirelessly for pennies on the hour to give back to the sports that they love and the student athletes that they care about. So thank you to all. If all of our fall shining stars could come up for a group pick, that would be great. And after we're done with that, you are free to go. You're also welcome to stay, but
I know. Photo shoot here.
It is.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
They come in Friday, so they come in before school is out. But if not, Friday the, okay? I'll text, I'll email it. Okay.
Okay. And on behalf of the board, congratulations to all of our student athletes for an outstanding season and outstanding representation of the talent and the sportsmanship and the leadership, and they represent our district extremely well as always, and it always is amazing as well how successful they are in the classroom and are obviously putting as much time into their academics as they are into the athletics. So once again, congratulations to all of them. All right, so are we all done now, Dr. Outlaw, we're all set with the superintendent report? All right. That closes the superintendent report and moves us to the call to the public. If there's anyone here this evening that would like to address the board, this is your opportunity to do so. We have, our protocol is we have cards in the back of the room. We ask that you fill one out, drop it off in the box to the left of Dr. Mosier. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Dr. Krebs will give you a 30-second warning with the yellow card once your time is up. When your time is concluded, she will show the red card. All right, so it looks like we only have one card. Diane Shandoval, it's your floor.
Good evening, board members. My name is Diane Shandoval. I am the general chemistry teacher over at Brighton High School, and I'm also the director for the K through 6 program for First LEGO League. I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Myers and Mr. Conley. You came and joined us at our event on Saturday, which was hugely successful. We had 20 teams from surrounding districts and our entire district, which Brighton had 11 teams representing our district. And we had a great show of young, innovative, and productive children who are part of this program, who you gave the time to them to show what they have learned, what did they gain, what were they passionate about. And it was so amazing because they were so proud to be able to have someone to listen and take that time. So especially to you, Mr. Connolly, it really shows to your character of your care and your passion towards the robotics program over the years. I even heard one of the kids say, that was really cool. It was not just high schoolers, it was an adult. They said it in many more words than that, but they noticed. And I really am very proud of that you took the time to get down on one knee and show them that someone was willing to listen. So thank you. And Mr. Myers, it was just wonderful to have representation there. Everybody noticed who you were. They were looking around going, hey, we got school board members here. So it was really nice to see the community being represented. We had such a successful event. not only on Saturday, but at November 23rd, we had 4 teams in the FLL Challenge, which is grades 4, 5, and 6, go to our qualifying program over in Waverly. They spent an entire day in, not kiddingly, grueling judging, where these kids are put to a serious test of robotic design, they're put to a test of innovation design with a project and a solution which they have to present to judges. And then they also are then judged on their core values. How do they present themselves as a team? How do they work together as a team? Do they show that fluidly through everything that they do all day long? So even if they think they're not being judged, judges are watching. These kids put so much effort into it that, again, we had another successful year where 3 out of our 4 teams was able to earn some form of award. Unfortunately, this year, our returning team did not, they just got out-competed just by a little bit to go to states. So I would also like the board to consider that this program needs to have some sustainability. I have been the only person running it for 10 years, and I think I'm ready to pass the torch and would like to have some discussion going forward on how to do that productively with our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shandoval, and I want to thank you for organizing and putting on an absolutely tremendous event. I was so impressed by the organization, the engagement, the excitement of all of those young students and their enthusiasm and excitement. It was really an amazing event, and it was very well organized. And I can't commend you enough and your team and all the parent volunteers. There was a tremendous showing, obviously, on behalf of Brighton in that event, but having the other teams from other districts there as well. I was watching and seeing students and families from other districts that were coming in, and they were truly amazed, not only at the STEAM Center, but just the manner in which that event was organized and structured. And kudos to you and everyone that was involved with that event. It truly was first class. And I know that Mr. Conley felt the same way. So anyway, thank you very much. And thank you for being here this evening. All right. That closes the call to the public and moves us to for action. Item A, regular meeting minutes of November 11, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Reed,
Support.
support by Ms. Marks. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes 6-0. That moves us to the Human Resources Report. Dr. Outlaw.
Mr. Anastasov is not able to be here this evening, so on his behalf, just sharing, there is only one item on the Human Resource Report this evening. We had a resignation of a math teacher from the Bridge High School, and we currently have a high-quality substitute teacher in that role, so the students are still being well served. So.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the Human Resources Report as presented?
Support.
Moved by Ms. Moved by Mr. Birchfield,
Support.
support by Ms. Reed. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes 6-0. That moves us to the call for the organizational meeting. It is recommended that the board call for the organizational meeting for Monday, January 13, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the boardroom at the administrative building where we are here. Do we have a motion for the call for the annual organizational meeting? Moved by Dr. Krebs,
Support.
support by Ms. Marks. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes 6-0. Moves us to item D, maintenance vehicle purchase. There is in the packet a request from administration to purchase a new maintenance van in the amount of $47,562. Do we have a motion to approve that request as presented? Motion by Mr. Conley,
Support.
support by Ms. Reed. Any discussion? Okay, and just for clarification, this is a continuation of the discussion at the last meeting. At that point was a consideration of an electric van. This is a gas-powered maintenance van that has gone through the bidding process through My Deals, the state purchasing consortium. And so with no further discussion, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 6-0. That moves us to item E, Science Room C8 renovation. As presented in the packet, there is a motion, proposed motion by the administration to accept the proposal for Midwestern Contracting Company to perform the services as general contractor for the Brighton High School Science Room renovation with an amount not to exceed $381,700. Do we have a motion to approve the request as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Reed, supported by Mr. Conley. Any discussion? Mr. Conley, don't forget to turn your microphone on.
That's a new processor last year. So in our total budget for this classroom, where does that put us in our committee? You guys are on the kind of committee that,
So right now, with the general contractor services at about $382,000, we still have to get furniture, where we have a current bid of about $52,000 for the furniture. And we also have to buy the exhaust hood, which I believe was kind of $21,000, I think was the bid that we have. Because we went out, we already have other exhaust hoods in the school, so we want to have the exact same one. So if you put those all together, it's about right around $450,000.
okay, and that's the total package at this point for that classroom.
That is correct.
So should that be the going forward number once this gets finished, if that's the decision, that's what it would cost to renovate all the classrooms, correct? Per classroom.
So I would,
Not sure.
I think that this maybe gives us a ballpark of it, but I think that if we're going to move forward, I think that we need to spend some time with our science teachers and really think about,
strongly
are
agree.
there other aspects? This is going to be a little bit more lab space. So I think it's a ballpark, but it could be a little bit higher if we really outfit these the way we need to. There's other things, like, for example, Mr. Hudacek's back here is a chemistry teacher. There are things that are very specific to chemistry. There's things that are very specific to biology. So I would imagine those rooms would probably be a little bit higher.
A little bit, like 100,000 or two. But just give them an idea, because there's a lot of science classrooms. So, okay, all right, thank you.
I just want to thank everybody who worked on this particular classroom. It's taken us a long time to get to the point with this first test classroom for the science room renovations. And I look forward to seeing what the administration and what our teachers and the other volunteers involved come up with for the plans for the rest of the classroom. I think this is an opportunity for us to really make a difference in how we are providing education to our kids. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 6-0. That moves us to item F, the Beck window lintels change order. Mr. Jones, or who would like to address this issue for the
So
benefit of the
I
board?
will start with the high level, which is based upon, we talked about the lintels last time at the last board meeting. We had an estimated amount of what we thought it was going to take to repair the lintels of about $225,000. We added a contingency to that, and the board approved $250,000. Since then, we have gotten updated pricing, which the $250,000 is now up to $360,000. And then there were also 4 windows that were not included in the original quote. And those are about $68,000. So to add those extra funds with a contingency, we're asking for additional funds of $204,700.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve that additional funding of $204,700 as requested by administration? Motion by Mr. Conley,
Support.
support by Ms. Reed. Any discussion? Mr. Conley?
We have gone through all the windows.
Is there like a confidence factor in this though? Because this is maybe the third time, right?
We have
I
our
wonder if we could bring forward our construction folks to maybe be able to answer these. Would you be able to come on up here? These are the people that are under the hood right here. Probably give you the direct answers. Thank you both for being here.
Yep. So the confidence factor for that pricing is for what we know. We did get in a lift today. We looked at the exterior of the building. There are a lot of weak spots in the exterior of this brick. So for this pricing that's in front of us, that does replace the lintels.
How many windows have been completed to this point that required the lintel replacement?
4.
And how many that are in the process of being constructed appear to be able to be completed within the parameters of what has been proposed and as additionally requested?
30.
Okay. So how many, so that's 30, you said 30?
Yes.
Be 26 more.
So we had
So 30
20,
total.
we had 26, yeah, we had 26 initially. And then upon further investigation, there's 4 more that got
Right,
added.
so
Yeah.
that, so there's 30 total. We've got 4 completed. I'm assuming there are some that are far enough along into the construction and the replacement that an educated assessment can be made that these individual windows that are in the process of being constructed will be able to be completed within the parameters of what we're looking at. So what I'm trying to understand is, other than what's been completed and the ones that are in the process that appear to be able to be completed within that budget, how many more windows are we talking about that could potentially be beyond the known of this projection?
No, none. We're replacing the lintels on 30 windows. There's no other windows, right, that we think need a lintel replacement, if that's what you're asking.
Well, so are all of the windows at least under construction at this point?
Yeah, there's a few over here that haven't been touched yet, but
Partially, I think maybe what we're getting at is there's some that haven't started construction, but we've done some investigations, some visual investigations. I was out here today looking at some that hopefully we didn't need to replace lintels on. That wasn't the case. But, you know, we've popped some bricks here and there and visually inspected them. The ones that haven't started construction. So,
Yeah, and that's what I'm just trying to get a sense of how many windows are left that we don't know what that might look like once it's opened up. I mean, that's,
there shouldn't be, there's always existing conditions that we're not aware of, but as Dave said, some of that money would be, there'd be contingency within that dollar amount.
Right. And so as proposed, as I understand, there's a 15% contingency built into the projected
The additional.
for the additional amount.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. All right. Ms. Reed?
I don't have any questions for you guys, but for Mr. Jones, how are we feeling about the extension on the grant funding?
So I spoke with the state at the end of, actually emailed back and forth with the state at the end of last week. The state, they have all of our information. The state has to send all of the requests to the federal government for approval. That is going to happen in about a week. So right around December 15th was their goal to get all the extension requests to the federal government to ask for the extension.
And do we think we'll get an answer on that?
I asked, they did not have any idea.
Do we have,
Whatever.
fair. I mean, do we have contingency plans for getting bills for work that's already completed by the
So-
31st in case that extension doesn't come in?
So Ryan and his team right now are working on the November pay applications. Those we can turn around right away as soon as he gets those to me, so they'll be in December. So we have until December 31st to put in all of our requests, because that's when the state will stop paying and the extension has to go into next year. After we get the November ones, we can see where we're at, and maybe we can get like an interim bill towards the end of December and get in as much as we possibly can so we can have minimal risk.
Thank you. Thanks.
So in this particular increase, how much of it is going to be general fund and how much will be grant dollars?
It's all general fund now.
It is.
The bond program has All the money is committed for the bond program. And the grant, well, we've hit our budget.
So this increase is a general fund
That is
expenditure?
correct.
100%.
Yes.
Can you just remind me, there's no maximum or for the grant dollar that, I know it's a percentage, but there's not a limit. Is there a ceiling for what?
Oh, there is, yes. We have it
What's the
approved.
ceiling?
I don't remember the exact number right now, but this
This will be over
additional
it?
amount is beyond.
It will exceed it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Question in the life cycle of the windows. What's our anticipation for this window replacement? 20 years, 50 years?
Well,
I
the
would say-
windows we're replacing are from the 90s, so that'll give you an idea, although that was part of the problem, is how they replaced them. So hopefully longer than that.
So a projection would be approximately, not holding you to it, I probably won't be here. So what are you thinking? This is a 30-year or 40-year roll of the dice kind of thing?
I've never had to
Yeah.
deal
I-
with
what's the
window
guarantee on
replacement
that?
or warranties.
What's
so,
the
yeah.
guarantee on the windows we're putting in?
It's 1 year. I mean, construction guarantee.
But what about from the manufacturer of the windows?
That's a good question. I can
I'd like to
get
know.
back. Okay.
But I mean, doesn't mean I can prove it, but it'd be nice to know what the warranties are as they go in a file and get put away somewhere and we lose a window and you got to change the thermal pane, right? So, does anybody know what the warranties are? It's a huge project.
The architect should know that.
Pardon?
So the architect should know that. I'll get back to you.
Just to clarify too, because that raises a good point. My understanding is that the windows have already been paid for and that included the breakdown of the partial funding from the grant and partial from the bond, correct?
Yes. So most of all this work is the labor to remove the old windows, do the lintel work.
Right.
The masonry work, and then put
And the fabrication of the new lintels and,
Yes.
so, okay. Well, I guess if the lintels last, the ones that are there now lasted 100 years, so if you can guarantee these will last another 100 years, we'll be okay with
Done.
that. All right, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here this evening. Appreciate it. That moves us to item G, Career Awareness and Preparation Course. Dr. Mosier, who's,
I can take it. Last time we met, we were putting forward a proposal of a course for a career exploration preparation course. That information is there. This was built out of both, I think, some student feedback and then also through our strategic plan and alignment under our career awareness goal.
okay. Do we have a motion to approve the course as presented?
So moved. Support.
Moved by Ms. Marks, supported by Ms. Reed. Any discussion?
Can I ask a couple questions, Dr. Mosier? So is this an elective for students?
Yes, it is.
What is the projection for how many students would take it the first time it's offered? Do you have any idea?
Oh, idea. I mean, I would say, based on some things that I've heard in feedback, is that there were students who were interested in exploring something like this as an option. So based off their feedback, the question will always be what fits in a schedule, right?
Thank you.
I think our high schoolers are already starting to fill out course requests for next year. So are they going to be able to sign up for this?
Yes. Yes, they would.
If we
Pending,
vote for it
pending
tonight?
approval tonight, they will absolutely have an opportunity to sign up for this.
Mr. Conley?
Who's going to teach it?
So there are a few options. The high school administration has been considering some options. They're going to have some conversations with staff. It will come from our existing staff.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Birchfield?
So just as a follow-up, Dr. Outlaw, I believe the students needed to have, I believe Mr. Evans had an email out if I recall correctly, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, that they had to have their forms completed by this week. Is that correct?
The 18th of December is when the materials in, so that's next Wednesday.
Okay, all right, then there is a little bit more time than what I thought. So, okay, I just want to make sure this is communicated.
And then keep in mind that they're going to have individual meetings between January and the end of February. So this process is going to go all the way until the end of February, this exploration process. So it's not completely done on December 18th. The students signing up for class,
Okay,
they have time.
okay, all right, perfect. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of approval of the course signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 6-0. That moves us to item H, policy revision adoption. Ms. Reed?
Yeah. I will take that. So this is the fabulous work of Mr. Anastasov that you've got in front of you as part of the packet. As you can see, he went through following the same process that we did for the last set of, last portion of the Troon periodic updates. These ones were all things where the options presented to the district, I think, were fairly minimal, not terribly substantive. There was some realignment with the law, some updated citations, some additional changes to reflect the new style that Troon is using in the policy package. There were a couple of places where changes in the law or changes in recommendations from Troon as our policy provider gave us options that weren't there last time, but the policy committee recommended we stick with the policies the board had adopted previously rather than changing them. So what you've got in front of you, I hope, is an easy thing for us to approve tonight. That will get you most of the way through all of the things in the last Troon policy update, and leave the new board with some substantive work to consider on some Title IX policies that are impacted both by new federal regulations and ongoing litigation. So we felt at the policy committee level, at least, that those were not in the place where we wanted to bring them to the board yet. But yeah, I haven't gotten any questions. I don't know if Mr. Anastasov got any questions from any board members since we reviewed them last month in the for future action.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the Troon policy updates part 2 as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Marks, support by Dr. Krebs. Any discussion? I would just, before we vote, I would like to thank the policy committee for what was a tremendous amount of work in sorting through this, and at Mr. Anastasov's direction as well. I appreciate that it's a very time-consuming process, and I think that all of you have done an amazing job organizing it and making it so that it is an easy review for all of us, and we appreciate all your diligence and hard work. All right, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 6-0. That closes for action and moves us to for future action. Item A, School of Choice, 2025-2026. Dr. Outlaw.
So we are getting close to that time of year where open enrollment is going to begin in February. So putting this on the radar to discuss the School of Choice program, that'll be something that the board will need to decide for action in January. At this point, we are looking at continuing with unlimited school of choice, both 105, which is in county, and 105C, which is out of county, as unlimited. We would like to have a little bit more discussion with the board about some of our elementary numbers. So I think we need to have a little bit of dialogue between now and January. But we're definitely going to recommend being open for choice. Again, at our elementary level, because we have a lot of people that would like to be part of the Brighton area schools. But we want to have a little bit of conversation, particularly around kindergarten being limited, the timeframes on it. So we're doing a little bit of reflection, and we'd like to have some additional dialogue with the board before that's decided in January. Questions?
Do you have access to updated population projections to help for that discussion? Because there's, at least I've noticed in some of the neighborhoods out where I live, there's a lot of turnover, a lot of younger families, and I would expect our kindergarten and elementary numbers to continue to grow, but I don't know if that's reflected in the population statistics.
So the larger studies are done regionally, and just like we're seeing across the nation, there is a decline in young. The birth rate is lower among our younger people. We had a study done by our former enrollment clerk, and she went through all the new housing and what their target populations were throughout the community. We've been seeing a lot of growth in the Hawkins area, for example, over the last few years. We're not really sure. We have had a declining trend in our resident elementary population, but that's been backfilled because we've had so much interest from school of choice over the last few years. But we don't have a concrete study that would really advise us on what's going to happen with junior kindergarten. We've been fairly stable. And I would anticipate that's our projections for next year is to be stable again, especially at the elementary level. So that's what we're looking at. But a few years from now, we're not 100% sure. But I would expect stable for quite some time.
So one question I have, is it the anticipation that it's for future action now? Is it the anticipation that the administration will have enough information to be able to make that decision in the first meeting in January? And secondarily to that question, is it in order to meet the timeline for the state, for the school of choice program, do we have to make that decision in the first meeting in January, or would it be prudent to consider bumping that to maybe the last part of January?
So would love to see a second meeting of the board, but that's a board decision that you're going to make about having that second meeting. It's going to have to be in January. If you have a second meeting in January, I think our preference would be that it would be on the 27th, if whatever the second meeting would be, because then the new board would have a chance to ask those questions directly and everybody. So that would be the ideal for us. Before February is what we need.
And then the other question is, I know that the proposed legislation for mandatory kindergarten is still percolating in Lansing in the lame duck session. If that were to be adopted, and depending on if that were to be implemented in the 2025-2026 school year, if you make that assumption, does the administration have a assessment of how that might impact the kindergarten numbers in the district versus if it doesn't pass?
I think the impact would be minimal to none. The state, when they did their study on this, is a tiny population of people that are already not in kindergarten. And I think in a district like this that really values education, people are sending their kids to kindergarten. So I would not expect much change. We do not have students coming to first grade having not been to school already. I can't think of anybody in my 5 years here that's done that. So I would expect little change because of the legislation, at least locally.
Okay. Any other questions? No. All right, that closes that item. Moves us to item B, the BHS fence.
For our discussion at the last board meeting, the board asked that we take our project at the high school to remove and replace fencing to a competitive bid. So the district has done that. So the RFP is out, it's public, it's been published, and the opening is December the 19th. So we will have our selection to the board at the next board meeting.
Okay, any questions? No, this is actually the fence to the north of the high school parking areas, essentially north of the BCPA, that stretch where there's the residential area where right now it's a chain link fence, and yeah, it's the replacement of that chain link fence. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, that closes the For future action portion of our agenda, it moves us to board committee chair reports, community recognition. I believe we've already heard from the policy committee.
Yeah.
Anything further? No?
No.
All right. Mr. Conley.
I want to respond to Diane, our high school science teacher. Her organizational abilities are phenomenal. I don't know that you can really duplicate that. She's done this year after year, and I think find someone that could get up to par with her would be a tough thing to do. But you heard what she had to say, and I think sustainability is the key. Her program, without a doubt, has impacted hundreds, thousands of students now over the years. I recall being over at Maltby years ago with Dr. Suri, and we were doing the same thing, and not the same though. It's continued to evolve at a level that is everything you could dream of for a program is for our students. So she gave us fair warning that time isn't forever and she can't do this. She's done it for a decade already. So sustainability is the key. And we talked a few years back and we were able to get funding for coaches for our teams that were technically considered clubs, but really they're teams of the school, in my opinion. They're not real clubs. These students put in countless hours and dedicated hours that are just an unbelievable passion. So I'd like our board to, going forward, the new board that's coming to hear what Diane had to say. And I would just like to put hopefully my voice on this, that I know it's critical part of our school system, what she does. And it means a lot to the students, it means a lot to the parents, and it is the building blocks of great things to come for these kids. And if you can get time to go to some of these events, just to visit, even if you don't have time to participate, you'll see the growth that takes place in them. And not everybody gets the medal, but everybody gets to be included and they're part of it. And I think that and as you guys know, I coached Science Olympiad for a decade. I had to handle 30 to 50 kids, not hundreds like she does. And her energy was, I got to witness a true professional. So it'd be nice if we were able to find someone that would take that over and with her guidance, and then they can pick it up where she leaves off is a nice thing to do instead of having to start from scratch, which we know can happen in these kind of situations. So I think it'd be well worth the investment for the board. And the benefits are great. So that's what I have to say about that. And I want to put in the record, this is my final meeting, and I've never missed one in 3 terms of election, correct? I voted on every issue, and some were not easy, but it's been a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
Any other community recognition, board committee reports? Well, I would just like to take this opportunity to, first of all, Andy, thank you for coming back and sharing your wisdom and your presence that we needed in a pinch. We very much appreciate you stepping up to the plate and filling that void that was created. And albeit it was a short one, it was always a pleasure to have you be a part of this process.
It was when the outreach occurred, I was more than happy to jump in and help support the district. Obviously, this community means a lot to me. Born and raised here, as everybody knows, and my parting comments are thank you to so many in this district that have done so much. This board over the years, as Mr. Conley knows, and many of you up here know, we've been through a lot of interesting dynamics and a lot of interesting discussions and challenges, and we're in a really good position right now, which is exciting and fantastic. We have a phenomenal superintendent. We have very good board members. We have a great community, great teachers, great administration, great parents, great kids, and Brighton. No matter where you go in the state of Michigan, people really do look up to this community and recognize the great things that are happening here. Just keep it up, and it's a proud moment to be a Bulldog and forever a Bulldog. And I know this community is in the school district's in great hands. So thank you.
Thank you, Andy. And Mr. Conley, I thank you very much for all that you have contributed to the board, and all, frankly, that you contribute behind the scenes. You are, a true warrior for making things better for our students. Certainly have the passion and heart to do whatever you think is important to make the most opportunities available for all of our students. And your passion in doing that is truly admirable. You and I haven't always agreed. The rest of us haven't always agreed, but I've always respected your passion and your dedication to this district. And it's as I mentioned, it's very admirable. I know that you'll still be a part of this community because it is in your heart to see that the district continues to be successful and that we have everything that we can possibly have for the benefit of our students. And so I thank you for all of your service. And then Ms. Reed, it's been, you and I joined the board at the same time 8 years ago. It's hard to believe that it's been 8 years already. It seems like it's been in dog years, about 50 years sometimes. But I frankly, looking back, I can't imagine being able to do what I've been able to do as a board member without your presence as a fellow board member. I absolutely can say that you have made me a better board member and a better person. I've always valued your judgment, your perspective, your wisdom, your passion, and through it all, I can't say enough about how much I respect and admire, your role as a leader in this district, because you have truly been a gift to Brighton over the past 8 years, and I'm certainly going to miss your wisdom. And I knew I could always, text you or pick up the phone, and many times that yep, Leisha's right. I was thinking about something different, but listening to your wisdom and your take on issues really was, I think, instrumental in making me a better board member. And I will always be grateful for you having that impact and for your service to the district and our community, and you'll definitely be missed. So
I am very grateful for the opportunity. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have served this community for the last 8 years. It's been the best job and the hardest job that I've ever had, and I'm gonna miss you guys. But thank you for this work, and I look forward to seeing what the district continues to do with the foundation that has been built by so many. And go Dogs.
all right. Well, that concludes this evening's meeting. Thank you all for being here. Oh, before, I also would like to echo what Dr. Outlaw mentioned. Thank you to all of the schools and the students and the teachers and staff for putting together and giving us these gifts. We really appreciate it. It means a lot for all of us, and we really appreciate that. It's a very generous and heartfelt touch, and we very much appreciate that. So that concludes everything on our agenda for this evening. And this will be the last meeting for the year. Our next meeting will be the organizational meeting on January 13. I wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a very safe end of 2024. This meeting is adjourned.